Hello and welcome back to Democracy, everybody. Welcome back to Helldivers 2, where today we are once again going to be ranking all of the Warbonds. This is up to the most current Warbond, which is the Masters of Ceremony, since last time I ranked it from best to worst. And my opinions have sort of changed, as well as there has been a whole lot of overhaul to Helldivers 2, where certain weapons have now changed pretty dramatically. And we also have the new weapon customization, which makes it so every weapon feels a whole lot more different. Well, almost every weapon feels a whole lot more different than it used to. There's at least like 2 weapons I can think of that didn't get any sort of modifications whatsoever. So before we begin this is all going to be my personal opinion, so if you really like the theme of a particular Warbond, feel free to get that one. This is just more meant for like newer players who are kind of looking for potentially like the best value for the Warbond. Anyway, let's begin. First up we have Polar Patriots, and we are starting off pretty strong because this one has pretty decent armors in it, which is good. Armors are going to be less impactful to this list than the actual weapons or stratagems or whatever else you might get, boosters, things like that. Those are going to play much more of a high role in my opinion, as opposed to the armors themselves, because so many of the armors now can be bought from the Superstore, which will be cheaper if you're just going for that particular armor, and sometimes the Superstore armors are better than the ones that actually come in the Warbond. Either way though, Polar Patriots does have some really cool looking armors. They've got some pretty good effects, mostly with the servo assisted, which is good for just tossing stratagems further. In this Warbond you get the Tenderizer, which is a pretty dang good assault rifle. It does the highest amount of damage out of any of them. You also have the Motivational Shocks booster within the first tier. Kind of okay, nothing way crazy given the muscle enhancement is basically just better than that. In tier 2 we get access to the Pummeler, which is a pretty decent submachine gun now, especially with the modifications. Submachine guns got buffed quite a bit once modifications came out. You also get the Incendiary Impact in this one, which is pretty good. That one's a very fun grenade. And then in the final tier we've got the Verdict pistol, which is the big old deagle. Very strong pistol right now. It's really good against the squids. It's pretty good against the bots and the bugs as well. It just goes really well with just about anything. And then we also have the Purifier, which is arguably one of the best weapons in the game and kind of has been, at least since it got buffed. So Polar Patriots is pretty stacked with the amount of stuff that you get, and I don't see a reason why not to put this one up into S tier right away. You get a lot of value from this one that's going to help you really regardless of how you like playing, where you got some close range with the submachine gun, you got some long range with the Purifier, and just very heavy crowd control with the Purifier, and you've also got kind of a nice in-between with the pistol and with the assault rifle in this. Up next we got Viper Commandos, and this one's pretty interesting. This one mostly is known for the Peak Physique armor, which gives you better melee damage, as well as it also makes it so that you can handle heavy weapons a little bit easier, which is really good, especially if you like a heavy machine gun. It's really nice for that one. It can also work pretty well with some of the other weapons. It used to be pretty good with the Eruptor. I haven't tried it yet with the new Eruptor. The armors do look pretty cool too, especially the face mask. The first one looks really good. In the first tier we have the Liberator Carbine, which is okay. It's kind of what you'd expect from a carbine version of the Liberator, where it has a higher rate of fire, same amount of damage, same amount of magazines. Assault rifles did get better though, thanks to the updates, so that's actually pretty good. I haven't really focused on this one though to unlock a lot of stuff for it, but I will have to do that in the future and see how much like a vertical grip will matter on this one. Maybe a drum magazine might be pretty good on it too. We'll have to see. For the second page, you get one more weapon with the Bushwhacker Shotgun. Really good against bugs, decent against bots, and pretty good against squids. It is pretty much like the Punisher shotgun that you unlock in the first Warbond. It does the same amount of damage. It has actually quite long range for a sawed-off shotgun. You can switch this to firing out all 3 barrels if you'd like. That one's pretty decent. And then in the very last page of this, you get the throwing knives, which are arguably one of the worst grenades, probably the worst grenade in the game currently. They are very fun, but they're just not very effective compared to pretty much all the other grenades. And you also get the experimental infusion booster, which is really good. That one is one of the best boosters in the game. However, the other things don't really add up too much, and there is a severe lack of weapons. Like in this, we have 1 throwable, 2 weapons, a primary and a secondary, and a booster that's decent. Where in Polar Patriots, we had like 3 primary weapons, all of which being pretty good, a secondary that's good, and a booster that's just kind of okay, as well as a throwable that's good. So this one is kind of lacking in the overall amount of content that you get in it, which is a little bit disappointing because it is a cool one, and I do really like the armors that come with this, but I will have to put like the Viper Commandos down here in the C tier. I don't think it's necessarily one of the best ones to go for right away, unless you just really like the Peak Physique armor and you really like the vibe of this one. Because like the shotgun is really cool in this, the assault rifle's pretty fun as well. well, and like the booster's pretty decent, so don't be dissuaded from taking this. I just don't think it should probably be like one of the first ones you take if you're brand new to the game. Next we got Freedom's Flame. This is the Fire Warbond, and this one is pretty cool. So this one has pretty much just all fireproof armors in it, which kind of makes sense. That isn't really that big of a deal though, because it's just pretty easy to get fireproof armor, and you can get the ones from like the Superstore, like the Salamander's one of my favorites. This one in the first tier has the Cookout, which is really good. That's pretty much the Punisher, but it's loaded with Dragon's Breath. It's really good against bugs. Like, it's arguably one of the best weapons against bugs. It's very strong against squids as well. Decent against bots, but not as strong as some of the other shotguns would be. In the second tier, you get the Flamethrower. That weapon didn't really get any sort of bonus, nor did the Cookout really, from the latest update with giving us different weapon modifications. I'm sure that'll change in the future, but the Flamethrower literally got nothing. The Torture just got skins, and that's it. So you can put different colors on it, which is cool, but I kind of wish you could at least swap out like the nozzles or the tanks or something, and that could be coming in the future. The Cookout basically just got sights. It really doesn't have anything else that you can throw on there, so that's a little bit disappointing. You get the booster of the Firebomb Hell Pods, which is one of the worst boosters in the game. Generally, it just causes more destruction to your own team than it does to enemies. It's very difficult to actually get any sort of value out of, even if you're running a full team full of fire. And then you also got the Crisper Pistol, which is actually very good. The Crisper Pistol is a really good secondary. It's very good against bugs, and it's very good against squids. It can actually even be pretty good against bots, so long as you're comfortable being within like melee range of the bots, which sometimes can be a bit difficult, especially if they got like Berserkers or Hulks on you. Freedom's Flame is another one that's kind of okay. I don't think you get a ton of value from this one compared to some of the other ones that we're going to talk about. I think Freedom's Flame is okay, though. I'm also going to put this one in C tier with Viper Commandos. If you're a big fire enthusiast, then definitely check it out. If not, then maybe wait off on this one until you can kind of buy some other stuff before then. Up next, we have Cutting Edge. This is more of a energy weapon focused build. I think it only has energy weapons in it, and it's one of the very first Warbonds they added to the game. This one is mostly centered around like the Tesla armor, which there's not a whole lot of, although there's not a whole lot of things that can actually zap you. It's pretty much like the Illuminate Harvesters, the Illuminate Shock Towers, your own Shock Tower, and your teammates if they have the Blitzer, and that's about it right now. I don't think anything else really does electricity damage. I guess the drones kind of do that are on the Illuminate, but that barely does any damage. It's more just there to slow you down. So the armor is kind of whatever. This has localized confusion in the first tier for a booster. Not really that great of a booster either. It can kind of slow down reinforcements to missions, enemy reinforcements, but it's so difficult to actually take advantage of that it's just generally not really worth taking. There are some decent weapons in this one, though. In the first tier, you have the Sickle, which has always been a very solid assault rifle. The other assault rifles did get kind of better thanks to the updates that we did get in the most recent patch, but the Sickle is still pretty good. It didn't get as many changes as like the Scythe did, and same thing goes with like the double sickle. It didn't get a whole lot of changes either. But either way, the sickle is still a very solid assault rifle, especially for bugs and especially for squids, and can even be pretty good against bots. So that one's pretty nice. In the second tier, we get the flashbangs, which are pretty good. They've gotten kind of better in a way where you can only stun like the new flesh mobs that the squids have. That's kind of nice, assuming that it's not raging, I think. I don't know if I've actually thrown one of these at a raging enemy, but you can also stun like chargers. You can stun just about everything with this, unless it's a Titan. You used to be able to do that, but you can't anymore. It's also very safe to throw at teammates, so that's good. Or throw near teammates, I should say. There's also the Plasma Punisher in Tier 2, which is a pretty decent plasma shotgun. It's very good against most things. It's really good against the bots. Pretty solid against the squids and the bugs, though, too, so that one's nice. In the third tier, we have the Las Dagger Pistol and the Arc Blitzer. Arc Blitzer is an interesting shotgun. I know a lot of people really love it. It didn't really get a whole lot of changes. It is pretty strong, and it does have infinite ammo, but it does have kind of a slower rate of fire compared to the other shotgun-type weapons. It isn't really a shotgun, but it feels the most sort of like a shotgun. And then the laser pistol just sort of got nerfed with the latest patch because there was a bug going on to where you could have it have infinite ammo. You can't do that anymore, and it's still actually a pretty decent secondary. It works really well on like bot missions. It can work pretty decent on squid and bug missions too. So Cutting Edge has a decent amount of stuff going for it. I would put this one probably up into B tier. I think it's pretty decent right now. I think that some of the other things got a little bit better just because of like the most recent update where we got more weapon modifications and more options to actually get like some of the armors that we want. where this one got a little bit weaker because of that. It's still not bad at all. Those weapons are still very solid. Then we have the democratic detonation. This one has pretty much been a top tier warbond since it came out, and it has pretty much stayed that way. This one is really good. The armors that you get in it are pretty good as well. There's a good variety of armors in this. It has one of my favorite helmets in it, just in terms of looks. That's personal preference, but I really love the gas mask looking helmet. It has the thermite grenade in tier 1, which is one of the best grenades in the game. You can stick this to almost anything and kill it, or at least do tons of damage to it. There's a couple of enemies that it can't kill, like the new flesh mobs can actually survive a thermite, assuming that they weren't getting hit from anything else. So if you're shooting at it when you're throwing this at it, it'll probably die, and it won't put down like the factory striders, but everything else it'll pretty much put down very, very quickly. It's gotten much better since it got buffed. You also have the adjudicator assault rifle, which is pretty solid. It didn't get like any sort of magazine change, which I kind of wish that it did. Maybe that'll be coming in the future, but even so, with the new update, like the adjudicator is still very solid as an assault rifle. Tier 2, we have the eruptor, which got heavily buffed in the latest patch to where it has much better ergonomics than it used to, which is fantastic because its ergonomics were terrible before. And it actually kind of has its own like purpose now, because previously it was in a very awkward spot where the crossbow did everything better than it, and you could still argue the crossbow does quite a bit better than it, but even so, the eruptor is very, very nice right now. So that's good. The booster that you get in the tier 2 is pretty bad, where it's just the expert extraction pilot. It's pretty much a garbage booster that nobody ever wants to take because it just doesn't do anything for missions. And then in tier 3, you get the grenade pistol, which is one of the best utility options in the game. It's super useful for taking on just about every mission to knock out enemy objectives, whether that be bug holes or squid ships or bot factories, whatever it might be, and it works pretty well as a secondary weapon for just taking out things. And then in tier 3, you also get the crossbow, which is one of the best primary weapons in the game against basically everything. I find it to be a little bit awkward against the squids and the bugs sometimes, at least if they're allowed to get close. If you can keep them at bay, the crossbow is really strong, and this one is terrifying against the bots. It just puts them down like no problem. As well as it can close up bug tunnels, the eruptor can also do that. So you just get so much from this one, and it's going to go up into S tier. I think it's still one of the best warbonds that we've gotten today, and it's just very, very nice. The next warbond is actually the free warbond, which is the Helldivers Mobilize. So this one you have unlocked right away, and you can just build into it, and it's got a lot of really good weapons. There's the most amount of stuff in this, there's the most amount of things in it, and you're probably going to be building this one up first. So this one's going to go up to S tier because it's free, and I really wish that we could get some more free warbonds, maybe like once a year. Maybe not as big as this one, maybe just like a single page or two. That could be pretty cool, but it would be really nice if Arrowhead started putting out more Helldivers 2 free content for people that don't want to be spending like super credits or don't want to be saving up for super credits to get all of these different war bonds. Then we got Steel Veterans. Steel Veterans was the very first war bond that was ever introduced into the game besides the Helldivers Mobilize, and this one is pretty cool too. So in tier 1, we have 2 weapons in this one. We have the Senator Revolver, which is one of the best secondaries in the game. It puts down almost everything. It's really good ever since they gave it the speed loader, and they also gave it the heavy armor pen. It's been very, very solid. It is really strong against bugs, really strong against bots, and pretty strong against squids. I find it the most awkward against squids, but it's still a really, really good secondary. You also have the Liberator Concussive. I find that to be a fairly awkward assault rifle, but overall it's pretty decent, and honestly I haven't really upgraded it too much with the new upgrade system that's now in play in Helldivers 2. So that one might be a little bit better than what it was previously, because previously it could be kind of just awkward, and it was probably one of my least favorite assault rifles, but still not a bad one by any means. In tier 2, you had the Incendiary Grenade, which is pretty good. It's really good against bugs and squids. Not really that great against bots. It's actually kind of gotten better since the new flesh mobs have been introduced with the squids. Like the Incendiary Grenades are pretty good. You also have the Breaker Incendiary Shotgun, which I have been playing with that one and upgrading it, and I do like the new changes that it's gotten. It did get nerfed a while back where it just got less ammo, but that's not such a big deal, especially now that you can upgrade it and you can go with something other than just like the drum magazine, as well as you can change out like the muzzle attachment to it, so you can put like a full choke on it, which is pretty cool. I do like that they changed that. And then in tier 3, we have the Flexible Reinforcement Budget Booster, which is one of the worst boosters in the game. It's terrible. You probably should never take it. And you also have the Jar 5 Dominator, the big bolter gun, which is pretty cool. You could argue that it's basically the same as like the Slugger that you get in the free war bond, and I don't think that would be too far off because it is very similar to that one. They both have about the same amount of damage. They both have the same medium armor pen. Still a very solid heavy rifle though, if you want to be using it. So like Steel Veterans is still a really good value. I would put this one high up into A tier. I think it's very nice. Next up we got Chemical Agents. This is the Poison War Bond. And this one is kind of interesting. Last time I ranked this one as one of the worst, but honestly I've been coming around a bit more to it, at least to certain aspects. So in tier 1 we have the gas grenade, which is one of the biggest selling points of this. Gas grenade is really good, especially against bugs and especially against squids. It's okay against bots. You can close up bug tunnels and factories and stuff with this, weirdly enough. I say weirdly enough because I feel like the smoke grenade should at least be able to do this too if the gas grenade can do it. You get the sterilizer in this, which is actually quite good against bugs and squids, because it's basically like the flamethrower, but it forces them to attack one another. They will attack basically everything in the area though, so they can still be kind of a menace to you, and I find the sterilizer to be just sort of awkward. I don't really use it that often. I'd rather just be using the flamethrower for basically the same sort of job. And then into tier 3, we have the dog's breath, and we also have the stim pistol. Stim pistol is really cool. It's a really cool secondary. It's really good in multiplayer. It doesn't do anything in solo. I guess you can clear mines with it, but that's about it. I wish that you could at least use this on yourself if you're playing it in solo, so it would have some use there. And the guard dog's breath is also a pretty good backpack to be running around with. I don't think that one's bugged right now. The ballistic one sort of is, where it will just disappear. This one I would still probably put down into C tier. I don't know if it's necessarily like one of the worst warbonds, but I just don't feel like you get tons of value from this. If you go with a full gas build, it can actually be pretty fun. I do like that. But for me personally, this one's mostly going to be for like the stim pistol and for the gas grenade, both of which are really good. But the other options in this aren't really some of my favorite options. Next, we got Truth Enforcers. Truth Enforcers has gotten much better because of the weapon upgrade system, so that's cool. The armor in this one kind of sucks because you get the unflinching one, which is basically nothing. That armor doesn't really do much. If you like the looks of it, then go for it. The white armor does look really cool. The red armor is a bit too red for me, but the other stuff is pretty awesome. In tier 1, you get Dead Sprint as a booster, which is a very fun booster. It may not be one of the strongest, but it is really, really fun, so I do like that. And you also get the SG-20 Halt. This is the flechette shotgun and the flashbang shotgun, which is really strong. It's very strong against bugs. It's very strong against bots. It's very strong against squids. It's probably one of the best shotguns in the game. Sadly, you didn't really get that many changes, though. It's pretty much just optics that you can swap out on it, although I don't know what else you would really change with this one, besides maybe adding like grips and different things like that to it, maybe different stocks whenever they eventually come out with those, because like muzzle devices wouldn't really make the most sense for this one. But either way, the Halt is a very, very strong weapon. The Reprimand in tier 2 is really strong right now. It's pretty much one of the best submachine guns / assault rifles, because it fills that role really well too. This is like the M45 submachine gun, and ever since they like made it so you can put so much recoil reduction on this, it is very strong. That was really the only problem it had before, is that it was kind of difficult to control, and now you can just throw on like a flash hider or a muzzle brake on it and put on like a vertical grip, and it does not have like any recoil at all. It is very easy to hold on target, does really high damage, has medium armor pen. It's a really big selling point of that Warbond right now. And then into the third page we have the Loyalist pistol, which is a very good secondary too. It's a plasma pistol that does pretty high damage. You can charge it up and you can do even more damage. It's basically like the Purifier, but a smaller version of it. I think I'm going to take Truth Enforcers and actually put it up into A tier. Ever since the weapon changes, it's been really nice. Like, the Reprimand is definitely selling it for me. The Halt was always a really good weapon, and the Loyalist has always been a really good pistol. Up next, we got the Borderline Justice. This is the cowboy one, and this one's pretty cool too. With the changes, this one's been not really affected all that much. This one has the gunslinger armor in it. At least that's what it's mostly known for, so doing more damage with the secondary, which is pretty cool, and the armors do look cool in and of themselves. In the first page, you get the lever action rifle in this. This one does really high damage. It's very strong on like bot and squid missions. It's not great on bug missions, mostly just because of the reload speed. You do have to reload this one round at a time. There is no like speed loader for this, which would be a really cool option if they do add it. And sadly, with the new weapon changes, since it's a marksman's rifle, all it really got was like you could swap the scope off for something else. Either way, the lever action is actually a really good weapon. With the second page, you got the Las Talon. This is the laser revolver. It's one of the best secondaries in the game, in my opinion. Has medium armor pen, high damage. You can spam it out fairly quick. It has potentially infinite ammo if you don't overheat it. It's just a very, very good secondary for basically everything. And then in page 3, we also got the Dynamite, which is more fun than it is necessarily practical. Dynamite's still pretty good because it does a lot of damage and it has a big explosion radius, but you do kind of have to set the timer for it. That's not a huge deal, though. You can also set it up to like a minute where it's just, you're going to be playing like hot potato with friends at that point, and Dynamite is kind of fun for that. but that's the only real reason why you would do that. The booster in it with the sample extricator is nothing way crazy. It can get you more samples, which can be nice for teammates that are lower leveled, or if you don't have that many samples, it's only for commons though. And then you also get the hover pack, which is very fun, and it's actually very strong, especially against like bugs. Against squids, it can be pretty strong. It depends. If it's like just the voteless crowds and the flesh mobs, it's really, really strong. If you got like the overseers mixed in there, maybe not so much. And it usually just gets you killed if you're using it against bots. So like Borderline Justice, I think I'd put this one up into B tier. The weapons you get from it are pretty cool, and the overall like aesthetic of it I really enjoy. Next up, we got Servants of Freedom. Servants of Freedom is a pretty cool one as well, although you don't get a whole lot of different options in this one. On the first page, we get the Double Sickle, which the Double Sickle is one of the best assault rifles in the game, and it kind of functions more as an LMG if you build it right, where you don't even really build it right necessarily. It's just you take fireproof armor, you take the health booster, and ideally you have somebody standing behind you with a stim pistol, and then you just mow through everything. Because this weapon is really cool. It's like the regular sickle. It does high damage, but the more hot it gets, the more damage it does, and the more armor pen that it has, up to heavy armor pen. And once it does get to that high heat, you start burning yourself, but that's why you throw on some fireproof armor, and like double-edged sickle is really, really good. Second page gets the Ultimatum, which the Ultimatum is pretty awesome. It did get kind of nerfed in the most recent patch, where it can no longer knock out the robot jammers, which is kind of a bummer. That was something that it definitely had going for it. It can still knock out structures. It can still blow up basically everything that you would be able to blow up before. And if you direct impact something with this, it's probably going to kill it, unless it's like a factory strider, but I think that's about the only thing that can tank through the Ultimatum directly hitting it. But the Ultimatum is pretty awesome. You don't get a whole lot of shots for it though. You get like 2 shots in total, and that's just not very much. The armors from this is just not really that good either, because it's all the martyr armors where it's just you die and then you blow up. It's kind of funny, but not really that good or practical. And then in the page 3, we also have the Seeker Grenade, which is okay. I don't really see it that much anymore, but it's not a bad grenade by any means. You just throw it out and then it goes and finds enemies. You can kind of ping where it needs to go to, and it'll go over there. You can also get the Portable Hellbomb Backpack, which is super fun and very strong in certain mission types, because you can knock out basically everything with it. You can knock out factory striders, you can knock out entire structures. You can use this to blow up jammers still, and the Portable Hellbomb Backpack is really, really nice for that. So, like, it does have some stuff going for it, but it didn't get a whole lot with the most recent updates, and some of the things have gotten a little bit weaker, so I'm going to put this one into B tier. I think it's still pretty good, though. And next up, we got Urban Legends. This one is the one that pretty much had all the stratagems in it. So in tier 1, we have the Directional Shield, which is pretty bad. The Directional Shield doesn't really serve any purpose right now, given that the Ballistic Shield and the Backpack are just way better options. The Ballistic Shield always gives you passive defense so long as it's on your back or off to your side when you're holding it, and you can more easily direct it. The Directional Shield kind of works like that, minus the passive bonus if it's on your back, and it covers a little bit more area to potentially protect teammates, but that's not really that practical, and you don't really want to be standing that close to one another a lot of the time. Explosives in this game are very common, so like the Directional Shield is just not really that good. You have the Stun Lance. Stun Lance is probably the best melee weapon right now because it's got the longest reach, and it can also stun enemies on hit, as well as it has the highest amount of damage, or tied with the highest amount of damage with like the combat axe and the sword. So like that is a bonus if you like using melee, but I know most people don't, so that's probably not going to be a huge selling point for them. In page 2, we have the Armed Resupply Pod bonus, which is fun. It's pretty good on defense missions. Not really great on any other missions, but a fun booster to take regardless. And then we also have the Flame Sentry, one of the better sentries in my opinion. It definitely clears through crowds, especially bugs and squids. Against bots, it's kind of okay, but half the time they just shoot it to death right away. And then in page 3, we have the Anti-Tank Emplacement, aka the Grandpa Chair, which is very strong in like bot missions. It's really, really strong. It can be really strong on bug and squid missions too, especially if you want to climb up a hill, call down a Grandpa Chair right on top of that hill, and then just rain down a bombardment directly onto whatever you're seeing. It's really powerful. You get a lot of shots for it. It's really strong on defense missions. It has some funny bugs with it too, where it's like sometimes if you hop into it as it breaks, you get like weird broken physics and stuff. So like Urban Legends actually has a lot of really good stratagems, and if you're kind of looking at it like that, this one could be better than some of the other ones. Because as for weapons, the stun lance didn't change at all. This one didn't really get affected by any of the most recent updates to adding more weapon customization, because this one doesn't really have any weapons outside of the spear, and so far secondaries aren't customizable. That would be cool if they do get customizable at some point. But either way, Urban Legends is a little bit of an awkward one. I'd probably put it up into B tier, though. I think it's still a pretty good one. And then our very last one is the Master of Ceremonies. This one has some of the coolest looking armor in it, where it's definitely like World War I inspired, and it looks awesome. Even though the armor itself isn't that great, like having extra limb health doesn't really matter, because if you get kind of low and your limb doesn't break, you probably want to heal regardless, and getting hit lightly, your limb might not break anyway, so I don't know. The armor's not that great, but it does look amazing. We have the new amendment. This one is a marksman rifle. This one is either a semi-auto or a 3-round burst rifle. The 3-round burst is actually a lot nicer than I thought it would be, because it's not a dedicated 3-round burst. You can kind of adjust it. So if you just tap it, it can still fire semi-auto. If you kind of tap and hold it for a second, it will fire 2-round burst, and if you hold it in, then it will do the 3-round burst. And the 3-round burst is actually pretty fast too, as well as this gun barely has any recoil. It does have light armor pen on it, which makes it a little bit awkward for a marksman's rifle. It also has a bayonet on it, so you can use it like a spear. This one's actually not that bad. I figured this rifle would be kind of worse than what it was, just looking at like the stats and the description of it, like a 3-round burst marksman's rifle that has good damage, but only light armor pen. Kind of awkward there, and then ever since I've been using it, it's actually felt pretty good. I don't really have any complaints with it. In the second page, you have the saber, which is pretty much the same as the combat axe. They have basically the same reach, pretty much the same damage. They have the same armor pen. They work pretty good in conjunction with the shield. They're really good for chopping down like hordes of voteless or cutting down like small bugs very quickly. Against any of the bigger enemies, though, like one-on-one, it's still very strong, but in groups, it's not really that great. So the sword isn't necessarily a huge selling point, although the sword does look really cool. I like the look of the sword, probably the best of the melee weapons. And then in page 3, we have the sample scanner. This one is actually a pretty good booster that potentially gets you bonus samples every time you pick up a sample. It's like a 15% chance. That's really good because it counts towards everything, and if you have new players on your team, or if you're not maxed out, or your ship's not maxed out, really good booster. And then there's also the flag. That's a support weapon. That one's kind of an awkward one. It's statistically the same as the stun lance. It has the same reach, does the same damage, it can stun. It's exactly the same, it just takes up a special weapon slot as opposed to a secondary slot, so it's really bad in that regard. You can plant it down, but planting it down doesn't really do anything. I wish this gave like a morale boost or something to the troops. I think that would be a whole lot cooler, where otherwise it sticks there and somebody else can come pick it up. It's kind of funny that you can stab somebody when they're on the ground, though. With this one, you plant it and it kind of knocks them away. And then we also got a new grenade in this, being the G142 Pyrotechnic. Now this one's kind of interesting because it's almost like a bouncing Betty firework grenade, sort of. You throw it out, it throws fire basically all around it, causing kind of explosions to it, and it's pretty funny. I do like that. It's not way crazy though. It's very similar to like the regular incendiary grenade or the incendiary impact, so it's very similar to that. It's actually a pretty okay grenade though. This one, it's not really that strong right now, so I'd probably put this one into C tier. It might be one of the weaker war bonds to be buying. And I think this is where I'd probably put all of the war bonds as of right now. The best value one is definitely the Helldivers Mobilized, because that one's free. But then I'd probably say like the Polar Patriots and the Democratic Detonation are probably the best two after that. Beyond that, though, the other ones are pretty good. There's bonuses to each of them, and you should pick whichever war bond you like the most of, whichever one you think you're going to have the most fun with. So tell me your thoughts on the war bonds. Where would you place them? Thank you guys so very much for watching this. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye, everybody.